r/ask Reddit. Men of Reddit, when was the last time you've cried and why? Yesterday. Grief. Wife died 8 months ago. She was the love of my life and my best friend. Sorry to hear this, buddy. I've been in your spot. Believe me, it gets better eventually. Don't let anyone tell you how or when to heal. Just do it in your own way. But make sure you are headed toward healing. Losing my wife taught me that life is short, and there are things to enjoy and appreciate all around us. This is spot on advice. Woke up at 4 AM after dreaming my dad told me he has days to live, then realized he is actually dead. I have those dreams about my nan and my granddad. They suck so bad. The realization when you wake is just such a gut punch. It really is. I was wailing. Haven't cried that hard in a very long time. Walking into rehab when almost no one knew I was going. 60 days later I'm sober as hell and going to be a sober dad. I felt this one. Only some of my family knew. I just disappeared from work. Don't even recall how that part was arranged. Congratulations on 60 days. That's a big deal. This internet stranger is super proud of you. Thanks, buddy. It was really hard, but the best thing to ever happen to me. Rehab kicked the shit out of me, but I got my life back. I flew to Seattle and it was done. Months ago when my best friend was found dead in his car after a week-long search for him. Turned out he killed himself. I lost a friend last year. I really do understand it's a pain like no other. Every time I consider suicide I cry thinking about him and remember the pain it caused for all of my friends. Same over here. Suicide is so badly on my mind. But I don't have the guts to do it. My friend and gym partner killed himself on November 5th and I didn't know for a whole week. I was texting him daily things like, hey man, where are you at? Are we lifting today? Did I do something wrong? Why aren't you replying? Hey man, if you don't respond to this message I'm calling the police for a welfare check. And then a friend found the GoFundMe on Facebook. I cried so hard and loud that I heard my roommate approach my door to knock. He heard me through the door and did a quick about face to retreat back to his room. Today someone approached me in the gym saying, hey man, do you know what happened to Run? He was in my class and just stopped showing up one day last semester, and I went full deer in the headlights before straightforwardly answering he killed himself, then returning to my workout to avoid the emotions and awkwardness. I started drinking at 8 AM today, so I got that going for me. Hey guys, I appreciate the concern and I assure you I am nothing but an alcoholic. Just had a moment of shock. I'm going to take a nap. Take the dog for a long walk, then get back to it as I usually do. Once again I appreciate those who reached out, but I'm going to be fine. I'm so sorry you lost your friend. Your last sentence worries me. When my dad died I started drinking like that and spiraled into a dark place for years. Please be kind to yourself and take care of yourself. It may mean seeing a professional who can guide you in your grief. I was tucking in my 7-year-old daughter a couple of months ago, and she told me that she was worried about me dying before her. I'm only 42 and healthy, so I had a conversation about how old I am likely to live and that she will be an adult when I die. Then she said, but when you do die, will you help me? Because I need you so much. And I lost it. Now I'm crying. I was 5 or 6 when I had my first existential crisis. I was taking a shower and realized everyone I loved would die at some point. I'm just grateful I've been able to spend as much time as I have with my parents and grandparents and stuff. Last year on my birthday, because I made it this far and some of my friends did not. A saying that I remind myself from time to time. Never regret growing old. It's a privilege not afforded to everyone. Last week at our first ultrasound, wife and I have had 2 miscarriages and we had an appointment and saw the heartbeat. This little peanut has stuck around the longest so far. Fingers crossed. May the pregnancy be smooth, healthy and uneventful. Good luck, dude. We had a miscarriage the first time, was early, no heartbeat at a 7-week scan. Was really tough to go through, especially for my wife. So I feel for you. As you'll probably know, the chances of miscarriage massively decrease once there's a heartbeat. About 5 minutes ago, one of my nephews is currently in surgery for something his doctors have never seen in a kid his age before. I just got news from my sister that best case scenario has happened, and they were able to take care of things. He should be out of the or in half the time as was expected. So, yeah, crying in relief at my desk at work. Going up to see him in a couple days. It's hard to explain what it means to have kids like him in your life. Edit. I just found out that he is out of surgery and everything was successful. Huge weight off my mind. I'm so glad for you and your family. Dude has been through a ton in the last year or so. I've never seen a kid deal with stuff as well as him. All of my other nieces and nephews have been rallying behind him as well. It's been a hell of a ride, but we can finally see the end. This morning, we lost a son who was born at 20 weeks a few weeks ago. He lived for 2 hours and died in my arms. Every time I close my eyes I see him. I know it'll get better in time, but for now it's rough. There was a post I read somewhere from u/G Snow a while back. Saved it because it is just sadly beautiful and sits with me. Quote, alright, here goes. I'm old. What that means is that I've survived so far, and a lot of people I've known and loved did not. I've lost friends, best friends, acquaintances, co-workers, grandparents, mom, relatives, teachers, mentors, students, neighbors, and a host of other folks. I have no children, and I can't imagine the pain it must be to lose a child. But here's my 2 cents. I wish I could say you get used to people dying. I never did. I don't want it. It tears a hole through me whenever somebody I love dies. No matter the circumstances. But I don't want it to not matter. I don't want it to be something that just passes. My scars are a testament to the love and the relationship that I had for and with that person. And if the scar is deep, so was the love. So be it. Scars are a testament to life. Scars are a testament that I can love deeply and live deeply and be cut, or even gouged, and that I can heal and continue to live and continue to love. And the scar tissue is stronger than the original flesh ever was. Scars are a testament to life. Scars are only ugly to people who can't see. As for grief, you'll find it comes in waves. When the ship is first wrecked, you're drowning, with wreckage all around you. Everything floating around you reminds you of the beauty and the magnificence of the ship that was, and is no more. And all you can do is float. You find some piece of the wreckage and you hang on for a while. Maybe it's some physical thing. Maybe it's a happy memory or a photograph. Maybe it's a person who is also floating. For a while, all you can do is float. Stay alive. In the beginning, the waves are 100 feet tall and crash over you without mercy. They come 10 seconds apart and don't even give you time to catch your breath. All you can do is hang on and float. After a while, maybe weeks, maybe months, you'll find the waves are still 100 feet tall, but they come further apart. When they come, they still crash all over you and wipe you out. But in between, you can breathe. You can function. You never know what's going to trigger the grief. It might be a song, a picture, a street intersection, the smell of a cup of coffee. It can be just about anything. And the wave comes crashing. But in between waves, there is life. Somewhere down the line. And it's different for everybody. You find that the waves are only 80 feet tall, or 50 feet tall. And while they still come, they come further apart. You can see them coming. An anniversary, a birthday, or Christmas, or landing at O'Hare. You can see it coming, for the most part, and prepare yourself. And when it washes over you, you know that somehow you will, again, come out the other side, soaking wet, sputtering, still hanging on to some tiny piece of the wreckage, but you'll come out. Take it from an old guy, the waves never stop coming, and somehow you don't really want them to, but you learn that you'll survive them, and other waves will come, and you'll survive them too. If you're lucky, you'll have lots of scars from lots of loves, and lots of shipwrecks. It was over the weekend. I was reaching out to a few different friends to see what they're up to, but everyone else had pre-existing plans. It hit me hard when I realized that I'm always making an effort to reach out, but I don't get the same in return. I do a lot of the work, and when I try to make plans, there's always something that comes up or they're too busy. Started to happen to me over the last 3 months. Now I'm just trying to be happy with myself and learn to be more lonely because I still can't understand what is going on. I always gave my best to make my friends enjoy being with me and make them happy, but I guess they just don't care about me. I'm very much a pleaser myself. so I understand exactly what you mean. I've tried joining different groups for the various hobbies I enjoy, in hopes of making new friends, but it's tough to break through to a new group as an adult. While I held my 4-year-old daughter in my arms and realized there was nothing that I could do to save her from dying from mitochondrial disease, I don't think I had ever cried so hard before or since. 7 years later it still haunts me, but time does make it less painful. That helplessness, the anger cry combined with the grief cry combined with the hopeless cry and the loss of the future you wanted cry. I know that cry too. It's a deep well in the heart. I'm so sorry about your daughter. Jesus Christ, that cry. When you're kinda blind, angry at the pointless and aimless nature of loss and illness. Seeing firsthand how truly unfair life actually is and being completely powerless to stop it. You feel it in your chest. A hot, molten, tight black hole that just pulls everything out of you. You don't even stop crying exactly. You just get too tired to keep going, but you still feel that burning deep inside. I fucking hate that cry. My ex-fiance left me after I spent 9 days in the hospital battling dual pneumonia and almost dying. Didn't realize I cared so much about Kobe until I stayed leaky-eyed for 20 minutes watching the coverage Sunday. They replayed his 60-point game last night on ESPN and I bawled my eyes out when it showed him winking at his family and smirking as he walks off the court for the final time. Yup, and all the times they showed his little girls having a great time on the sideline. I was never a huge Kobe fan, although I respected his talent. The way the crash happened with his daughter in the helicopter next to him really got me. Stuff like that never would have made me cry before I had kids, but having them makes you think about it in a different way. My daughter was born the start of last year. Think I must have cried for a solid hour. Get ready, man. I teared up last year when my son was born. Not a full-on cry, but unexpected emotions. Last night I was feeding my now 10-month-old, and he was in turn feeding my old Doberman, and it just hit me like a wave. Everything was perfect in that moment. My wife started crying because she had never seen me cry. Then my kid started laughing hysterically and my dog barked so loud that he forced a fart out. A perfect moment. I cry all the time. For various reasons. I'm nearly 30 years old. I actually think it is healthy to do so. Whenever I've finished crying, I always feel so much better about whatever it is. Me too. I cry so easily. It's actually inconvenient at times, haha. A few weeks ago, when one of my best friends told me he's going to be a dad, I can go for months and months without shedding a single tear, but these news got me really emotional, in the best sense of the word. This has been an eye-opening experience for me, as I had no idea I was capable of feeling such things. My marriage was on the verge of collapse when my ex-wife got a job offer in another state. She had been unemployed for some time, so she had to take the job. We decided I should stay behind since I had a steady job and divorce was inevitable. My wife moved out and the kids stayed with me until she got a home in her new city. Taking my kids to the airport and putting them on a plane to move away from me was soul crushing. I held it together until they boarded. Once they got on the plane I lost my shit. My kids only lasted a few months with mom before packing up and moving back to live with me. Yay for dad. Last Friday, I hadn't seen a group of friends for a long time, and none of them asked how the past 3 months had been. How's the last 3 months been? My girlfriend of a year broke up with me. Shortly after my mom attacked me with a knife, I sought refuge at a childhood friend's house, and I felt pretty safe for a month or so. And I don't know what came over me, but I tried to kiss that same friend, and it wasn't reciprocated. I left her house a week after that. I'm now living in my car taking showers at the gym. I'm not sure how my budgies are doing, but I asked my sister to take care of them. I started feeling like none of my friends cared cause nobody had texted me over this whole time. So I went to that damn party last Friday, just for some social interaction. But you know how that went. I'm just so desperate for any kind of love now, be it family, friends, or romantically, and I ducked with the one good thing I had by developing feelings for her and hate myself for that. I'm also managing school and a full-timer at the same time. I wouldn't even feel this bad if I was at least asked how I was just once. It's nice to put this out anywhere besides a journal though, so thanks. Last time I got teary-eyed cats in the cradle. Last time I cried. Wow, years ago. Must have been when I lost my job, got dumped and my grandfather died. All within 6 hours. That was enough to set me over the edge. Big yikes, dude. I hope things eventually worked out and got better with time. Things eventually always work out, but it hurt really badly. It all happened on the 1st of January, the first day of the new year, but my father played a large part in helping me with dealing with what seemed like too much, and he did it without actually doing anything for me, which was amazing. Sunday, wife has sudden onset of insomnia and anxiety since Christmas, which has started to trigger panic attacks. She had one while I was at work and called me. When I was free to call back, my son answered the phone. I was sobbing listening to my 6-year-old talk her through the breathing exercises we had practiced. That kid gets ice cream for life. No questions asked, and I might go cry again. Edit. Wow, this got a fair few more comments than I expected. Thanks for the well wishes and health advice. Bit of an update. Wife had been taking prescription sleep aids on our doctor's recommendation, which knocked her out for an hour or 2 at most. This was pre-panic attacks, so they changed to anti-anxiety, anti-depression meds for 5 days. She had another 2 panic attacks early in the week, but I had arranged some emergency leave and was there for the worst bits. On day 4 and 5 she managed to relax enough to sleep for a good 5-6 hours each time. Followed up with the doctor for blood samples and medical reviews, and she's dropped down to half the dosage for another week. Has slept fairly well since, and her job have been very understanding, so all being well she's back to work for a half day tomorrow. Our son is back at school, no worse for wear, and has been spoiled rotten by all concerned. Fingers crossed it's just a flash in the pan of stress and ill health. But we have a few numbers for counseling and further tests should they be needed down the line. Your kid is amazing. You guys will get through this. I'm not sure if this is an option for you, but a dog that is trained to help recognize when she's having difficulty and take appropriate steps to calm her might be worth looking into. If a trained dog isn't an option but a regular dog is, perhaps consider visiting a local shelter to see if there is a pup who would be a good fit for your family. Dogs are really good at picking up on human emotion and are comforting and grounding. They can really help to disrupt thoughts that are spiraling out of control. Could be a good fuzzy friend to help your wife as well as your son when times are tough. I only cry when I watch sappy Disney movies alone, sometimes on purpose just to get it out. I never cry at any other time. I do really let the floodgates open when I do though, and I know I look pretty ridiculous full blown weeping at a mildly sad cartoon scene. Good for you for finding an outlet. I'm more emotional than your standard guy. I'll tear up fairly frequently, even at movies and the like, usually with things involving loss of parents. Last time I would say I actually cried was when I decided it was time to go to a therapist, and in the initial meeting was just offloading all the reasons I decided to come and why I thought I might have a touch of depression. I'm doing much better now. Last time I straight out ugly cried sobbed was when they put my mother's casket into the vault at the mausoleum. Almost 5 years ago now, while hugging the hell out of my brother. July 2019. I surprised my long distance girlfriend for her birthday after not seeing her for 3 months. Her reaction was bland, which shook me a bit, but I was like, maybe she's tired from college and work. I've gotten us a nice Airbnb for 2 nights so we can have some privacy, but nothing felt right. Last night we were just listening to some music. She was sitting on the bed pressed against the wall, eyes closed. I was laying on my stomach, and then Georgia by Vance Joy started playing. I teared up and covered my face with my arm. That moment I realized our relationship peaked sometime before. It was only downhill ahead. I cried without any sound, and she felt the bed shaking from me sobbing. Asked me what's wrong, and then I opened up about how I feel that I'm 100% into this relationship but not getting the same back. She started crying as well. Confirmed everything I said and promised she'll try to improve and bring back the spark we once had. We broke up 3 months later. Oh man, do I miss that girl. Just over a year and a half ago, when I was writing up a little letter for my just recent ex-GF, we both decided to go our own ways, but I was scared she would react, so I wrote a letter to let her know that it was just an honest handful of issues I couldn't get past and that I would always cherish what we had. Part of the reason I was crying was knowing full well that I care too much sometimes and am constantly taken advantage of, but there I was, selling my soul up the river to try and give her closure so she wouldn't do anything reckless. Every so often, in my office alone when life gets to be too much, I open a bottle of whatever whiskey I have in my fridge, pour a glass, and just quietly let tears stream down my face for a few minutes. Then I wipe my face as quietly as I can and move on, kinda like I'm doing right now. Last night, unexpected, work night shift in the NRN. Last night of the work week, I work 7 on with 7 off, accumulating 80 hours in that 7 days on. Go to bed at 8 am. Wife wakes me to at 4:30 pm to shower and be ready for family dinner at 5 with my 3-year and 1-year daughters. As usual, wife wakes me up with my 2 daughters. They're all really excited to see me. My wife is talking with me. The 3-year is playfully yelling at me about her toy, and the 1-year is also loudly babbling. I got overwhelmed and yelled stop pretty abruptly and abrasively. Wife realized I was a grump and quietly took the kids out, leaving me to myself to finish waking up. While I work very hard to not be in a shat, I was still disconnected and overall too exhausted to invest in my family the rest of the night before I left at 6:30 pm for my 12-hour shift. Fast forward to work, and the last night was very much like every other night this week. A whole lot of misery and bullshit just swimming in acute psychosis. Read. Crazies screaming and unsafe to themselves and to staff, sprinkled with a few really sick patients, and a ridiculously busy department. I love my job, I love what I do, and I love going to work, just not this week. Co-worker and fellow nurse who I was with asked me what's up because she could see something was on my mind. Now, I spend nearly the entire 80 hours working with her. She's a wonderful friend. And next to my wife and daughters, I spend a very considerable amount of my time and life with her at work. I told her how I was upset with myself for exploding at my wife and kids who were just so excited to see me because they haven't had much of me all week. I broke down and got teary and had to excuse myself to collect myself so I could get back to work keeping my patients safe and alive. There were other small factors that led me to be irritable such as lack of sleep and stress and the damn neighbor dog barking constantly while sleeping. But I felt like a monster, sir. High stress, high risk jobs eventually eat up the good parts of you and it eventually seeps into private life. Remember to manage stress and take care of yourself so you can be replenished. To those supporting people in those jobs, remember that irritability isn't directed towards you. Sometimes, we just get overwhelmed. Just the other day, I often have these dreams where my dog Snoopy is there. However, he passed away almost 5 years ago and in my dream I will recognize this and say to myself, wait, Snoopy died. How is this possible? Then somehow, I can't really explain it that well, but me wanting so bad for him to be alive again overwhelms the logical part of my mind and I rationalize that he actually didn't die and it was a miracle. I then have a great time and am able to enjoy playing with my best friend again and having him come along on my adventures. The thing is that this ducks with me when I wake up and have to come to the sad realization that he is gone again. Like I enjoy being able to see him again in dreams, but it can be really emotionally overwhelming too. So, some days I wake and cry because I miss my best friend. So, this is gonna sound dumb, but last Thursday, I couldn't sleep. So I was watching YouTube, and a review for Avengers Endgame popped into my feed. While watching that review, I decided to watch audience reactions to the Thor's hammer scene and the snap scene. Seeing and hearing the joy from those scenes made me lose my shit for some reason. I've done this kind of thing before, especially when I was younger. I'd stay up thinking about what kind of dad my dad would have been and cried my eyes out knowing I'd never find out. My mom would tell me that sometimes people just need to cry. Guess I just needed to cry. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.